off the line. Big part of this Tiger defense.
Jean with his 8 goals and 8 assists, top 10 in the nation in points. We'll see if he can cap off this tremendous 2025 regular season as Virginia Tech in the Road Blacks. The deep through ball to kick things off here on a breezy Friday night in the upstate.
Yeah, it's just going to cue up that long throw in, which can always be dangerous. It's essentially a set piece anywhere from 25 yards off the end line.
And that player to watch in the box, number 13, and Traustason, they're targeting him, but the big reach of the former Hokie in Floki Stevenson tries to keep it out for the time being. That'll fall to Arieli, and then a tight shot from the left wing goes high.
Now that's always that second phase of that set piece is going to be dangerous.
A look at the veteran head coach for Virginia Tech in Mike Brizendine. The 17th season, he has 6 wins over top 5 teams. They beat the number 3 team in the nation on opening day in Ohio State, and I'm sure they will treat this one as a top 10 matchup with Clemson in the top 20 in RPI.
Yeah, just on that bowl to make that NCAA tournament.
Got Nathan Richmond in the long white sleeves here on his senior day. Another talented offensive threat as he's taken down. Foul committed by Joao Felicio. And Clemson is hoping that they can have a lot of possession in the attacking third. This is a team that Tiger fans are familiar with the style. Press heavy and press often, as already we see possession changing hands with Ajabong. Dispossessed there at the last moment. And when you face a team like Clemson, Kevin, what's the strategy here for Virginia Tech?
Well, they have to be in the moment, not play the match, not the atmosphere. It's homecoming week here. It's Friday night. It's Halloween. It's going to be festive. The crowd will feed off of the energy of the team, and Virginia Tech just needs to stay in the moment and focus on the task at hand.
That'll be an important matchup out there on the right side. Richmond up against Felicio, the freshman from Portugal. As the left wing owned by Declan Quill, who we highlighted in the open. But, you know, talking to Mike Noonan, the Clemson head coach, earlier this week, he was worried about the right side threats. Players like Noe Uimana, one of the most talented young outside backs.
It's a matter of when you're in possession, you're able to press, try to keep those outside backs pinned back as much as you can, and you're only going to be able to do that when you're on the ball.
Tell you what, Kevin, this is going to be a lot of fun. Just from the notes, there are 10 players to highlight total on the floor, and the question is, who will come up big in the early moments? Is Clemson asking questions here in the 3rd minute? Taken away nicely there by Tito Peralta, but that pressure keeps the possession for the time being as it's held by Yanis Bellatrash, a transfer from UCF. This is a possession-forward team in the Hokies. They like to suffocate you in the midfield. Here is Jean, taken away cleverly by Beltran Alvarez.
Yeah, nicely done. That's no small feat to take it off of Jean's feet.
Alex Perez, a sophomore from Vegas, tries to find the dashing Uimana, but a good screen created there by Arthur Duquesne. As the Tigers playing a bit short-handed without one of their Staplefords in the back row and Lucas Magnuson. So next man up, right, in Matthias Leib.
Yeah, that's right.
Throw in the deep corner here in the 5th minute.
And these are the moments that Clemson will want to limit as much as they can. Declan Quill has this long throw in. So dangerous. And we just talked about the second phase of these. You have to win the initial header if you're the defensive team here. But then it's the second phase.
Oh, that was touched by Traustason. And that's a player that Coach Noonan had keyed moving into this matchup as we take a look at the 2-time national champion coach, and certainly a resume that will find its way into the NCAA tournament. The question is, can you host in the ACC? Can you host in the opening round of the NCAA? That's what the next 2 weeks are going to tell.
You know, their RPI is sitting right there at 17, and what they really want is one of those top 16 seeds, which keeps you at home as long as possible in the NCAA tournament.
We will keep you updated on scores around the conference, but at the moment, Stanford, who leads the way, if they win today, they win the ACC. They have 10 minutes left, and they're trailing Cal by 1. So that kind of opens up the playing field to teams like Virginia, NC State, and then Clemson, as the Tigers need a little bit of help from around the conference if they want to grab a share of the ACC regular season again.
Right.
That would be a wild scoreline as Cal, who sits in second last place, holding on to a 1-goal lead against Stanford. As this rolls out for a goal kick.
It's really well defended from Duquesne there. He's able to just kind of shield the ball and trying to shepherd out of bounds, but last touch Virginia Tech.
And the senior from Ghana honored about 15 minutes ago in Joseph Ondema. Only got to play about 20 minutes in this matchup last season in Blacksburg before he broke his leg and had to watch the postseason from the sidelines. So an emotional yet stable keeper here today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's a couple Tigers racing through as Musa is back healthy. He stands behind Yoshizawa as Gian cannot control that pass, taken away by Alvarez again. There's the ever-present Kwaku Ajabong in the midfield.
And that's what you want from your 6, just to be able to screen that back line and pick up those loose balls, just disrupt play.
Ajabong, who had his first goal of the season a couple matches ago against Duke.
So nicely done from Jimenez to change the point of attack, but you could tell Okunlola was looking for that ball into space. He's gotten forward a couple of times, just hasn't quite got the delivery he's wanted.
Ooh, nutmeg action, and then wearing one there was Alex Perez, but he handles it nicely. Cannot handle on that give and go, though, as Live takes a gander after getting tripped, but no whistle by our head referee, Brandon Marion, today.
Virginia Tech is playing with a very high back line. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Stevenson starting to probe it a little bit and drop balls in behind. There's a lot of pace up top for this Clemson attack.
There's a look at Uwimana, one of the top 50 upperclassmen in the nation, says Top Drawer Soccer on their midseason list this year. And with that pinched up back line, you mentioned the through balls, but where does it play an advantage for Virginia Tech? Why would you play that on the back
if they're
line?
able to stay compact as possible, it's going to make it difficult for Clemson to have a lot of possession in midfield and have a lot of freedom in there.
There was a look at the former Hokie and Stevenson. Transferred after starting all 16 matches last season for Virginia Tech.
And that's the matchup you want there.
That's a terrific touch by Richmond, trying to find the floating Okunlola. That's a good box out by Joao Felicio, and then a careless mistake as the turnover creates a set piece in the attacking third.
This is going to be an interesting distance here. This is a distance where you can get the ball up and over a wall and under the crossbar. Yoshizawa just drawing the foul there.
Yep, took some candy out of his pocket.
Yeah, I would expect Gian to go for this here.
The sophomore superstar matched up against the UCLA transfer, Sam Joseph, the senior in net.
That 6'4" frame, he's got a big wingspan. It's going to be something special to beat him from this distance.
John with 8 goals here in the 10th minute, potentially targeting another. This one will be a pass to the back post, and Yoshizawa cannot keep up. Meanwhile, we're going to talk postseason all match long. And I mentioned that early win But the strength of schedule for Virginia Tech has not quite helped them. You see there in the 70s, despite 2 good losses to Stanford and UNC, but a bad loss to Boston College.
And that's no disrespect to anybody on the schedule, but sometimes when you're scheduling 2 and 3 years out, you don't know how good or bad of a season a team is going to have, and then all of a sudden you get a couple of wins under your belt, but the strength of schedule really doesn't help you that much. But a win tonight, and they're one of these cases, if they could get in the get in the ACC tournament, win a game, there could be trouble.
How about that touch by Musa? As you see Jean fly. Again, Beltran Alvarez has had his number through 10 minutes, but talk about non-con play. You could only beat the teams you face. As Virginia Tech 5-0-2 out of conference. In the top 45 in RPI. We talked to Coach Brizendine, who wants to get in the top 35 to feel comfortable after the ACC tournament. Of course, a win here on the road would certainly catapult them. Here's that box out method by Traustason. Good help defense. You're going to see Jean all over the pitch, aren't you?
Yeah, he'll work back defensively. That's really nicely done by Yoshizawa. It's clearly on the scouting report that Virginia Tech's going to be dangerous with that long throw-in in that situation and just be able to build out of it and play rather than concede a throw-in 30 yards from your end line. Nicely done.
Yeah, that clearance turned into a pretty decent pass to Richmond, which drew the whistle. Clemson still looking for their first shot. Probing that back line that has been up and down this season. Now, Virginia Tech, just 1 loss in their last 7 matches, but we talked about it. Cal took an early 2-0 lead against them before Quill picked up the hat trick. Cal 5 minutes away from a massive upset win against Stanford that would change the trajectory of next week's ACC championships. Here is Jean.
It's better from Jean.
Looks to reset as the junior Jimenez out to Richmond.
Here comes the overlap.
Orange jerseys flushing forward. Musa back to Richmond. Tries to tiptoe through as Ajabong flips the court. Trying to get a different view. Jean saved by Joseph. First test passed by the keeper.
That's just a picture of why he's so dangerous in those one-on-one situations. It's a terrific little step over here. Dips to the outside, puts it on his left foot. Forces the first big save of the match.
Mark that one down in the 13th minute as a marquee play. Certain to see more as Jean takes almost as many shots as anyone else in the nation. Live getting the start today without Lucas Magnuson. Clemson hoping to have him back for postseason play, which starts on Wednesday. And if the Tigers are in the top 8, they'll be playing right here at historic Riggs Field Wednesday night at either 6, 7, or 8 o'clock. So mark your calendars as Virginia Tech also lined up to play Wednesday. They're hoping to work their way into a host spot as a top 8 team. They're going to need some help, though, with a win tonight.
Right. It's so jumbled and so tight. The parity in the league is always as such.
And when I asked Coach Noonan what the priorities were, he said, play at home. That is the focus. Try to add that home field advantage here in Clemson.
Well, you can control so many more elements when you're playing at home in terms of sleeping in your own bed. You can control your nutrition better, but also just when you have the atmosphere they have here at historic Riggs, you'd like to play in front of that as long as you can rather than go on the road.
So, of course, Clemson, no strangers to the postseason as we look at the top 25 resume, the RPI sitting in a great spot, and, of course, that strength of schedule as the Tigers have gone through the gauntlet of ACC play.
Right. You look at some of the teams that It's always interesting, the ACC, because you don't play everybody every year, right? And they've had Wake on the schedule. They've had Pitt on the schedule. Out of conference, Indiana to open the season.
Now, the one team Clemson did not play is Stanford, which really throws that jumble in if they end up tied in that top spot.
All right, then you've got to start delving into all the tie-breaking scenarios.
Good job to reverse the field. Uimana beautifully touched by Bellatrosh. Taking his time in the box, and Ondema gets in time.
Well, Ondema gets credit for the save there, but you can't discount how well disciplined Floki Stevenson was in that moment. He continued to move his feet. He's not going to commit the foul there, but just look at the patience here. He's strong. He holds his ground. Really nicely done defensively there.
Yeah, the Parisian, so talented with the ball at his feet. Bellatrosh has a couple assists this season. As a fan makes a nice grab. Smiles all around. Enjoying a terrific home weekend with football hosting Duke tomorrow at noon. Fans still piling in on a busy Friday night on campus. 17th minute, if you're just joining us. One early shot on goal by Clemson's star, Ranford Jean, saved by Sam Joseph. The Tigers continue asking questions as Musa flicked back-heeled and another terrific save.
That's outstanding combination play in the penalty area from Clemson. Everyone in the stadium thought Musa was cutting that across the goal mouth. He tucks it back. Great first touch there. And Joseph able to get down. That's his second big save early here in the match.
Oh, that one had highlight reel all over it, from the save of Musa to stay in play, and then that creative flick as Sam Joseph is lining up for a historic season. His one and only in Blacksburg, one shutout away from tying the single season mark of 8. Has a goal allowed average of under 1. Poked forward by Peralta. Out for an Uimana throw-in. One thing I'm noticing early, Kevin, let me know if you're picking up on it, the composure of this Hokies team. They're not playing any sort of underdog role, at least physicality-wise. They're up there competing.
Yeah, they really are, and I think they have a good plan. You can see there, just now looks like Alvarez was a little frustrated. He's wanting his back line to get forward quicker. He's looking for the ball, but in those moments, it's so compact centrally. Virginia Tech has to break that first line of pressure and get him on the ball.
Uimana earns a corner kick. Meanwhile, on this final day, we get to do a little bit of scoreboard watching as NC State, 3rd place in the ACC, 1 point ahead of Clemson. They lead early in the second half against Syracuse. NC State might find their way as ACC champions if Virginia and Stanford lose tonight. Stanford has 2 more minutes left in their 1-0 deficit as Joao Felicio looks to whip this in with the left foot. You know, this might be Alex Perez switching out their usual corner kick taker. Perez sends in a low skirting one that is deflected off Quill and out for another corner.
That's nicely done from Musa there.
Perez with 5 assists to lead the squad.
He's trying to use every bit of real estate he can. It's so tight down in that corner.
This one has launched to it, falling down on Dama, an open net, and it falls into the hands of the blue kit-wearing keeper.
came out courageously. There's a lot of traffic there.
And it was Jimenez who got the body on it as a whistle blows on the deep ball from Ondema.
Yeah, and I like the idea of trying to just, again, if Virginia Tech's playing that back line, try to release one of these speedy forwards to get behind.
We're going to see corner kicks from Virginia Tech. They are 14th in the nation in corners at over 6 a contest. They ask a lot of questions, top 20 in the country in shots per game as well. Talking to Coach Brizendine, one thing that poked out to me, he talked about sacrificing speed for sure-footedness. He wants possession to drive his offense, and even if that means a little bit of patience and a little bit less speed, and an example there, what do you think about that from another side, Clemson facing a team that is looking to hold it?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. When you're in possession, you can dictate the tempo of the game, and Clemson's very good in the counterattack, but they can also, if they can maintain possession, they'll be able to control large parts of the match.
Richmond has been quiet thus far out there on the right wing. And Musa chips it in on the assist from the surging Okinola. Clemson takes the early lead.
Well, based on his first 2 saves, it felt like it was going to be something special to beat Joseph. And that's the goal of the highest quality. The delivery from Remy Okinola overlapping as a wide back and getting forward, just pinpoint accuracy on the serve. And Musa showed you why he's so dangerous. Look at Okinola, the right back comes forward. Musa just has a sliver of a look there. He's able to beat Joseph to the near post.
6th goal of the season for the sophomore. Joseph got a touch, but not enough as he was seeking his 3rd tremendous save. And Okinola with 7 assists on the season has the Tigers on top halfway through the first frame. And when this Clemson team is fully healthy, the weapons are endless.
Yeah, and this is the part that's always dangerous for an opponent, because when Clemson's able to get that first goal and get the crowd really involved, they will continue to attack and look for the second, look for the third. So the next 5 minutes for Virginia Tech are crucial to stay composed.
Here's a scoreline for Tiger fans as Stanford falls to Cal. That is a final score on a joint shutout for the 2 Cal keepers. Meanwhile, Musa is offside.
Yeah, that was very close. The assistant referee had outstanding positioning on it, but again, that's the idea. Can you play behind that high back line early? Perhaps the pass was just a little late, the missed time of the run. But you can see that's just a full step there off. Well, that's a result that kind of shakes things up, doesn't it? It kind of opens the door for some of these other teams.
Yeah, as we stand, North Carolina State and Virginia have the edge over Clemson. If either of those 2 teams win, they get the bye to start the ACC tournament, with Stanford falling out of favor. And quite a catastrophic loss for the Cardinal. Number 1 seed gets the bye in the 15-team ACC tournament. We'll talk more about that. We'll show you brackets and things as they stand as the match goes on. We'll have a chat at halftime with some upcoming matchups, all hypotheticals based off of how things finished, but this was coming into tonight. Stanford had that #1 spot and the bye. But with the loss, Kevin, Virginia or NC State can come in. NC State currently winning 1-0.
Right, advantage NC State.
And then the top 8 teams, 2 through 8, get to host on Wednesday. That's where Virginia Tech is aiming to find their way in. Of course, down 1 here early at Clemson. Gosh, next week is going to be a lot of fun. Wednesday and Saturday, the first 2 rounds. And then they move to Cary, North Carolina, November 13th and the 16th with the championship match in the ACC on ESPNU. Oh, perfect touch. Yoshizawa boxes out, gives room for Jean. Centering feed is saved. Jean in the middle, all the eyes were on him on the feed from Ajabong.
That's another terrific save from Joseph there, but have a look here at Ajabong. As he just gets around the corner, he's able to cut it back.
Tell you what, I like against a lot of keepers in the league, that might be in from Zhang.
Well, he's already had 2 very good opportunities.
Meanwhile, 25 minutes in, and the momentum is on the side of the Tigers after that close call on the corner kick just before Clemson's goal. As Declan Quill ready to throw this in.
And this is about just as good as a corner kick when you can have that long throw.
Long shot, beautifully blocked just at the top of the box. And a counterattack starting to brew as Richmond dispossessed nicely there by Felicio.
Yeah, really good defending from Felicio, because if he's beaten in that moment, it's an all-out attack. You had Musa streaking.
There's a look at the freshman out of Lisbon. Midfield possession slowed down by Alvarez. Poked up to Uimana and taken away nicely there by Jean. For those keeping score, Richmond also got credited for the assist as he created the beginning of that attack. So the goal by Musa, assisted by Richmond and Okunlola. Good help D by Ajabong.
Again, that's good individual defending from Ajabong. Staying disciplined, not committing a foul there just outside the penalty area.
Virginia Tech quite familiar with trailing early. Team that has a handful of come-from-behind wins, including the victory last week against Cal, which now carries a little bit more weight after the Bears take down Stanford.
It's always those type of things. It's a little bit of a ripple effect when you start thinking about RPI, because obviously Cal's RPI will get a bump from that. And then you turn around and having that win over them, that'll help Virginia Tech.
Clemson beat Cal 3-1 earlier this season.
Well, you know, they've shown that they have the resiliency and they're never out of the fight, and being able to come back in some of those matches you're trailing.
This whistle goes against Virginia Tech. We show you the ACC RPI. Virginia Tech just outside the top 40. But of course, the ACC tournament results also help out in that RPI ranking as Clemson sits in the top 20.
Well, it's always an opportunity to play. If you're a lower seed team in the ACC tournament, you're playing someone with a higher RPI. It's We'll leave that to the mathematicians.
Yeah, even a loss to a top 10 RPI team would probably bump you up if you're in the 40s.
Or just having them on your schedule.
Richmond pushing forward with numbers. Okunlola to his right, Jean to his left. It's Remy Okunlola as he's blocked away nicely by Arieli.
You could see he was looking to pick out Musa again there. I like the decision. Joseph did well to cut the angle. You thought for a second he could have a shot from that angle, but I think he makes the right decision here. The run, well timed.
Corner kick comes, the first of the night for Clemson. And the two-man combo up there of Jean and Richmond.
Obviously going to look for the big targets in Leib and Stevenson.
Not many Tigers in the region. And a counterattack looking to come out of it, but a tremendous kick save. Mason Jimenez, one of the glue guys in the midfield.
Now he's playing the same role there as Alvarez does for Virginia Tech. He's just, as the 6, he's just screening that back line, cutting things out, disrupting play. He's going to be the link as they build play as well.
That was a creative header by Arieli, the freshman from England. Oh, a lack of a whistle there on a physical tackle by Musa has Virginia Tech's sideline frustrated. But they'll take possession over in an instant.
I think that was clever from Alvarez. I think he knew the ball was getting away from him, so he leaned in to draw the contact, but there just wasn't enough there.
Just 5 fouls whistled thus far, 4 of them by Vatek, who gets ready for the afternoon turned evening's first sub.
You can see just defensively, Clemson is wanting Virginia Tech to try to penetrate centrally where their numbers are.
Oh, that was a poor decision by Floki and bailed out by his line mates to get it clear.
Again, good discipline from the Clemson center backs.
Now the Tigers are top 3 in the ACC in goals for. They sit second, but they're also bottom 3 in goals against. But a couple lopsided results, the shootouts that we've seen thus far have certainly added to that number. Umanyama, oh, that was a perfect touch defensively. I think it was Jimenez that got the boot on it. This one too strong from Alvarez as Andy Sullivans comes in, and we look at a familiar face in the middle of all the conversations. The Mac Hermann Trophy mid-season watch list of about a month ago came out. Of course, Ransford finds his way on. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a finalist.
Yeah, and there's a long history of Hermann Trophy award winners here at Clemson, and this young man is special.
So with just 3.5 weeks under his belt, Traustason's going to take a breather. Sullins, the senior Virginia transfer, moves into the front row. As Richmond gets tackled from behind and the whistle against Felicio.
That little contact there from Felicio. And it's kind of always the cardinal rule for one-on-one defending is if the player is playing negative and going away from the goal, do your best to not foul in those situations. You've done your job. That's clever from Yoshizawa.
Yeah, he gets an ooh and an ah from the crowd, and then between the legs to Richmond. Wow, Joseph, point blank rejection.
That forces another good save from Joseph.
Okunlola, junior from Georgia, loses possession but stays on the case against Felicio. Tigers really make you earn your possessions, getting out of the zone. Ref letting them play through. A lot of physicality there.
A lot of contact there, but the center official didn't see enough in it to call anything.
There's a look at the talented freshman, Arieli. His dismay at the lack of a call. Oh, that pass did not have enough pace. Meanwhile, let's look and listen to the last chance.
Good decision on the shot from Richmond to go low against such a tall goalkeeper, but Joseph was able to get down so quickly.
Terrific work by this Clemson video crew. Has certainly earned their stripes here this season and every season. Crossover year work is always a lot tougher, and it is admirable the hours put in the studio and day in, day out as the postseason right around the corner, and Clemson looking to have a couple more opportunities here at Historic Riggs. Certainly chances on the women's side as well to keep on playing through November.
Yeah, they suffered a setback last night on the road against Duke in their final ACC match, but before that, they'd just been on a tear. Really, really young team. Started 6 freshmen last night, 4 along the back line. So I think they are well suited to be very good moving forward.
Floki gets the whistle, just the second foul of the half against Clemson. Virginia Tech has had to play through contact. And they'll look to set up for their first true set piece in the middle of the field. It's Alex Perez, Ian Marcano lined up. It'll be Perez.
It's well done from Leib. Must win the initial ball.
Final 9 minutes of this first half, with a Wahab Musa goal in the 22nd minute, assisted by the senior Richmond and the junior Okunlola. Clemson with a win would secure that spot in the top 4 and play host to a couple next week, Wednesday and Saturday. Meanwhile, coming up at the half, Kevin, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna look ahead to the ACC tournament and chat with both coaches. Take another look at that tremendous goal by Musa.
Yeah, and all of this is gonna be kind of in real time as these matches are playing out.
NC State at the moment in live standings would be in that #1 spot. They lead 1-0 against Syracuse, with Virginia knotted at 0 against SMU, as a late tackle creates pyrotechnics on the floor.
I think they're looking for a little bit more than a foul there. I think they're looking for a caution, but we would have to see it in replay. I don't know if that was a cautionable offense. It was a scrappy double team there from Clemson, but I think we'll have a look here. It's tangled up with Yoshizawa, and I think it was more a collision, like knees knocking, than anything else. I don't think there was a high boot or anything.
Yeah, Beltran Alvarez out of Buenos Aires, Argentina, all freshman last season with Florida Gulf Coast, and I'm sure I've seen a couple Argentinians try to sell that call.
Right. You can have a look here now. This is the dilemma Virginia Tech is facing. They're trying to link up and build through midfield, but it's so compact in there from Clemson. It's forcing Virginia Tech to play that ball long. That's a good diagonal ball. Could be a bit overcooked.
Yep, Uwimana could not keep up, and as you mentioned, all of that possession a bit wasted.
Right.
As we rewind to that 22nd minute opportunity.
Well, it's Okunlola that's able to get forward here. He continues his run. Really outstanding delivery.
It just happened in a blink of an eye, didn't it?
That's sometimes all the Musa needs is just a half chance to create something.
Musa, who has missed some time, happy to be healthy, gearing up for the postseason run. As another happy to be healthy athlete is Abdou Mane, the freshman from Senegal, who comes in for Richmond here in the waning moments of the half.
And that's a sub I like. He's a very similar player and to what he does is Ajabang, and he can sit a little bit deeper and he can get Ajabang a little bit more forward in this system.
There is Mane's first touch, out to Okunlola. Just about 5 minutes to go in the opening half. Extra pace to the back post. Yoshizawa looking to fight for that spacing. Leads to a fadeaway attempt by Zhang.
Well, not does Okunlola have the fitness to continue to bomb down that right side. He has the pace and the quickness to get to the end line. You can see Gian at the top there. He's just trying to, once Virginia Tech picks a side, Clemson's going to keep it on that side.
Yep, Coach Brizendine called him a pest. Jean just pokes around, taking advantage of any misstep. There's a creative opportunity to Perez, picked away by Ondema.
Yeah, that was clever of him to come off his line quickly so Stevenson doesn't have to deal with the ball.
Into the 42nd minute we journey. Tigers are 7-2 at home this season, and will look to stay at home if the score holds into the ACC championship starting on Wednesday, as a 50-50 call goes the Tigers' way.
I think the message I've gotten for the center referee here is he's going to let the boys play tonight. He's going to allow us a certain amount of contact. He's going to call the big things, but otherwise he's going to let them play.
Back touch there.
Nicely done from Yoshizawa.
Ajabang creates the opportunity, and then John back to Jimenez. Had a little miscommunication poking forward.
And I think he was trying to shape that with the outside of his foot into the path of Musa. Didn't quite come off.
Clemson has played a well-rounded opening half. And if not for some tremendous Sam Joseph saves, the scoreline would be lopsided. Yeah, so it flicks off the shoulder of Uwimana. Missed opportunity there for the Hokies, as they'll take over here with 2.5 to play.
I think the first thing for Clemson is they were able to be strong defensively in those moments with a long throw in.
If you're the Hokies, are you somewhat optimistic that the scoreline is only 1-0 going into the half?
I think they've had a good bit of the ball, and they need to get their playmakers on the ball more and get the ball in midfield. They have to be able to really break that line of pressure, and you can see how it's almost pinned Alvarez back. He's probably playing a bit deeper than he really wants to. You want him to get more advanced and on the ball. You just haven't been able to find a lot of success building through midfield.
It was one early shot on goal from Dagger Traustason. The only attempt this half for Virginia Tech, but they are a second half team, and here's a little bit of an opening as Marcano curses in. Booted away by Mane, and there's a missed chance here at the waning moments of the half.
That was nicely put together, and we were able to get good penetration there, just couldn't get the final pass.
Now with a little bit of urgency, the Hokies steal one. At the end of the first half, it's Beltran Alvarez in his first goal as a Hokie.
We're just talking about him trying to get forward a little bit more and get involved, and he's able to get on the end of that cross.
That's an emotional moment for the Argentinian, who shares a message, I'm sure, to his family as we take another look.
That's a terrific delivery from Quill there. He's able to pick out Alvarez at the back post. Just look at the way he shapes this away from the goalkeeper. I think the question that Floki Stevenson is asking is, who's tracking that runner at the back post?
With 70 seconds to go in the first half, momentum has flipped here at historic Riggs Field, with a lot to play for here on the regular season finale. See if there's one more opportunity in the final 40-ish seconds. We mentioned Virginia Tech certainly not afraid to play from behind. And they show it here as the Hokies frustrated with a missed call and then a late call. And with the clock stopped now at 16 seconds, Brandon Marion.
I think it's going to be telling if this is a caution, because I think that's certainly a caution will offend. It was the tackle was late and the tackle was high, but he's let them play a bit. If he doesn't go into his book, I would be surprised.
You know, it certainly felt like the frustration is more against the referee than against the Tigers, and let's take a look.
Just have a look at how late, and I think they're frustrated with a no call there, but oof. You know, it always looks worse when it's in slow motion, but I don't know if there was much intent to play the ball.
So with the clock stopped at 16, one final set piece to end the half for Jean and company.
I'll tell you, the message that's being sent when you don't caution that is, I'm gonna let this be a physical match.
Coach Brizendine holding things up with a long conversation with a couple referees. And now the whistle comes. John to the back post, and the touch by Mane whistles wide. And that will end an exciting first half with action, a goal for each side, and plenty of physicality, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the takeaway is Clemson clearly created more quality chances. Joseph has been outstanding, and Virginia Tech was able to claw their way back in and score a goal late. But I think we could see the physical.
Virginia Tech might put them on the friendly side of the bubble with a few weeks to go until that selection day as our second half kicks off. Clemson playing for an opportunity to host the first two rounds of the ACC tournament. Virginia Tech trying to work their way into a favorable draw and potentially an at-large bid. A lot to play for, Kevin. This should be a fun 45.
Yeah, a lot to play for. And you talk about Virginia Tech's situation. If they were able to manage to earn a home game in the ACC tournament, that would be huge.
The Hokies snatched a goal in the final minute of that first half. Possession favored Clemson, but it wasn't as lopsided as the Tigers are used to, as a turnover in the midfield leads to the long strides of Musa. A one-on-one opportunity is saved by Joseph.
Oh, there was a lot of contact as he got on that ball in the breakaway. And Winston in pain there, though, but again, Joseph denies.
The training staff's going to come out with the clock stopped, and we're going to rewind and take a look at that chance. The strength, as you mentioned, unbelievable.
It's the weight of the pass from Gion's a big difference there. Oh, it looked like Joseph's boot came up there and just caught him on the knee at the end. I don't think there's any intent there, but big save. Havlik as he follows through just. On a chilly night, that stings a little bit more as well. You can see the foot come up at the end, just kind of catches Musa inadvertently.
Great job by Tito Peralta to cut off any lane to try to feed the easy goal to Yoshizawa as Musa gets to his feet, will limp to the sideline and turn that into a bit of a jog.
Yeah, whenever the athletic trainer comes onto the field, the medical personnel come on the field, he's going to have to come off. And the question is he just going to report right back to midfield and come right in? And Clemson is going to have to play down for a few seconds, and I think that's what we're going to see here.
And we have a corner kick incoming for Clemson. Down a man. Jean looks to re-spark the crowd. Musa does re-enter. Jean so nimble-footed. Taken away, and now Virginia Tech looks to push.
A little counterattack here.
Too paceful, but retaken by Perez. Now the whistle will go against Ajabong in the midfield. Tackled Peralta, freshman from Madrid.
I think Ajabong was making an argument that the opposing player had the high boot, but he was just a little late on the challenge.
Yep, looked like the right call. Now a set piece formed in the attacking third for the visiting Hokies, who have picked up a result in 6 of their last 7. Decent little training yard exercise, and the half volley bit wide there from the defender Peralta. Meanwhile, a pivotal update from the Syracuse-NC State match. In the 85th minute, they sit tied at 1. Now, NC State has 14 points, Clemson with 13, and Stanford with 16. A lot is going to be unraveling here, Kevin, to try to grab that spot and the bye.
This is awesome.
Virginia is the pivotal factor with 15 points. If they win, they would grab the #1 spot. If not, Clemson could get a share of the title. As a half-hearted tackle, ill-advised there by Sullins.
Well, I don't think that's a cautionable offense, but I think at some point in time, you know, you're going to have to see a card to keep this match under control.
Throw-in comes for Okunlola. Stevenson creates a little bit of space here for Yoshizawa. And Musa is off.
That's really good discipline from the Virginia Tech backline, reading that moment and stepping in unison to put Musa in an offside position there. And he's You know, it's shown just at the opening of the second half how dangerous he is when he can get behind.
Meanwhile, if you heard some crackling, it is Tiger-rama across the way at Memorial Stadium here on homecoming weekend for the Clemson football team. Soccer fans hoping that the offense can translate into some fireworks here in the second half as Jean, 2 shots on goal already, puts a perfect pass up to Okunlola. Opportunity for Yoshizawa, and now Mane finishes for his first collegiate goal. How about those fireworks?
Again, just changing the dynamics of this seeding for the ACC tournament. But for me on this play, we talked to Coach Shuna about halftime. Look at Remy Okunlola's pace to get behind. Everyone thinks he's going to deliver across now, but he takes that extra touch, draws the goalkeeper to the near post. And what a cool finish on Mane. He's able to find the nutmeg. It's that touch right there that sets it all up.
Clemson's lone sub thus far. And a feature opportunity for the freshman from Senegal.
Wow. Did you say fireworks?
Serendipitous. But again, Virginia Tech, certainly a team formed to face a little bit of adversity and experience with it as well, as Okunlola with the assist, Yoshizawa as well. Remy now ties Ransford for the team lead with 8 assists on the season.
And if that matches your team's style of play, which it does for this Clemson team, you've got to be happy with your right back in that situation. Getting involved and coming forward so often and contributing.
Throw in for Virginia Tech in the attacking third. Perez over to Bellatrosh. Back to Marcano. Patience shown here by the Hokies.
It's a good sustained possession in the final third there. Clemson so compact centrally, forcing Virginia Tech into wide areas.
If everything ends with these scores, Clemson would nab a share of the regular season title, and depending on some deep tiebreakers, potentially get a bye on Wednesday. The Tigers did not play Stanford this season, so it would move to metrics that I'm not comfortable diving into yet.
We're going to need someone far smarter than me to figure out all these tiebreakers, Daniel, but I will say this. I think that for Clemson, the joker in the deck is the fact that it's going to come down to some of these head-to-head tiebreakers, and unfortunately for Clemson, they've lost that head-to-head with NC State and Virginia.
So a tackle turns into a foul as Yoshizawa goes down, and you can take away NC State from the tiebreaker method because they have just gone final, and they will finish with 15 points on the season. And if Clemson wins tonight, they'll get to 16, which would tie Stanford. So it all comes down to whether Virginia, scoreless with SMU, can get the victory and take the 1 seed. Meanwhile, the Tigers would love a little insurance.
They need to focus on the job at hand, because I think that's nicely done.
Ajabong into space. Corner earned by Jimenez. Luckily, we can conjecture.
Right.
The players have no idea.
Right.
I'm sure Clemson knows that they can win and host, and that's kind of all they care about right now.
And I think if we learned anything from prepping for this game to what we saw in the first half, is Virginia Tech will not be out of the fight until the very last whistle. It's a nicely designed set piece, though, there.
There's a look at Floki Stevenson, the lanky Icelandic center back. Instead, it is the Parisian midfielder, Bellatrash, who gets the head on it. Now the man of the hour, Mane. Back post, Stevenson. Just a little high to try to get a boot on it. Again, we look at Clemson's tournament resume. Heading into the ACC tournament next week, hoping to at least have a top 2 seed if they finish this one with a victory.
Yeah, and what's so wild to me is you can look at that RPI, you can look at that strength of schedule, and this is a team that has bounced in and out of the top 25 just from a ranking, and sometimes you wonder who are ranking these teams.
I'm going to avoid a fine. Stay quiet on that one. Regardless, Clemson has found their way into a few rankings outside of the United Soccer Coaches poll. Top Drawer Soccer has them in the top 20. And of course, that RPI, more meaningful than anything.
But yeah, it's when you have the gauntlet of league play, and you have the teams of NC State, Virginia, Wake Forest on your schedule. It's tough.
Clemson on the heels of a 4-0 loss at Virginia on Saturday. Joseph Ondema was tested early with a couple chances. Allowed a goal that no one can save at the end of that first half. And here's another long ball. This one was not waved for offside.
It was a really nice turn from Ajabang, and just to ping that ball in behind for DeCane. And my immediate look was to the assistant referee to see if he was offsides, because he had timed his run so well.
You can tell this back line for Virginia Tech is in synchronization. They all called for that offside. You almost have to believe them.
They've been in unison and on the same page on almost every occasion here. But Clemson, I think, will keep probing with that long penetrating ball.
Rimana the target, but Joseph's boot tails wide. And we look at Virginia Tech's tournament resume here on the final day of the regular season.
And as you look at that, you're looking at that RPI, but the other thing is a big win to open the season over Ohio State. You've got some interesting results there. 1-1 tie on the road against a very good Notre Dame team. You tied Virginia, as you mentioned last time out. Big 3-2 come from behind win over Cal.
Yeah, Kevin, they started their season with their first home-ranked win since 2019, defeating top 5 team in Ohio State. And then they drew the runner-up in Marshall, another top 3 result. But that strength of schedule has gone downhill since August.
And again, I think that's, you can only play who's in front of you on the schedule, but when you're scheduling 2 and 3 years out, you're projecting who's going to be a plus rather than a minus to your RPI, and don't think some of those have quite panned out for Virginia Tech this year.
Just Just about a half an hour to play. Virginia Tech, their goal scorer Alvarez, leaked out wide. Oh, an open chance, batted away beautifully on help defense by Jimenez.
You can see that pass from Alvarez just kind of unlocking the Clemson defense there, and so we talked about at halftime is getting him involved and getting him forward a bit more.
What a strong defensive stand as Leib and Stevenson connect to create the Clemson throw-in as the Virginia Tech transfer, number 4 in orange. Although in this day and age, almost every matchup features someone that's transferred away, and especially all these interconference transfers. Yoshizawa came from Virginia Tech a few years ago. Floki made the move this last offseason.
I think the best way to describe is rosters are fluid.
I'll tell you what, from the eye test, this certainly looks like a tournament team in Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they move the ball incredibly well. They're committed. Stingy defensively. They've got an outstanding goalkeeper.
And they didn't have their top goal scorer in a few other losses, as Dagger Traustason suffered an injury just before his freshman year started, had surgery, and then showed up just over a month ago. As you look at the freshman from Iceland getting ready to re-enter. 7 goals, 3 game-winning goals in just a month of action. Set piece comes in from the curling left foot of Perez, and this is going to go in, and then a teammate kicks it over. Arieli looked to have the equalizer, and Sullins got in the way.
Yeah, that was destined to be on frame, wasn't it? It's just the last touch. He's trying to force it in there.
Here's the best look. Oof. Kevin, what do you think? Maybe Okunlola gets a touch on it, but I don't think Ondema's getting there.
Maybe, but that's the cardinal rule as a defender. You must be goal side, must be ball side. You have the visual awareness to not let someone beat you to the near post like that.
I don't think you're going to have an easier hook as a manager.
Well,
so Sullins comes out, Traustason in.
Yeah, we just talked about it when teams are so difficult to break down defensively. It's those moments, those set-piece moments when you really have to stay switched on.
Clemson avoids a catastrophic result, holds on to the 1-goal lead, but anyone that's been watching since first touch knows that 28 minutes leaves a lot of opportunities for this attack-heavy Vatek team. Yoshizawa.
Oh, I like the idea there. That's a clever backheel.
And not much of a counterattack. Doesn't quite seem to be in the DNA of this Clemson team to kind of sit on the ball. They need to be pushing. They want to attack. Okunlola, he's got 2 assists today. Just taken away of his goal. Would have been the first of his career. Check that, 3rd of his career, 1st of the season had he finished.
And unfortunately, Moose is down again.
Oh no.
You know, I like the decision from Okunlola in that moment, though, because he's driven to the inline, draw the keeper to the near post, and he's crossed every time. And finally, he said to himself, I'm going to have a go here and test Joseph. I'm not sure where the contact came for Musa, but that's concerning if you're Clemson.
I think Brandon Marion is going to go to VAR here. And he will, as Musa huddled around by his teammates. No training staff out yet. Here's our first look inside the box to see if there's contact on Musa.
There is contact, and I think what's concerning there is that shoulder to shoulder is fine, but the question is that shoulder to in the back? Oof. There's clearly contact, but I think because he elected to shoot in that moment, is that going to have a bearing?
Well, Kevin, would the way that this match has been refereed affect a lack of a call?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this is the type of situation if you're Coach Noonan, you're calling for the penalty. If you're Coach Brizendine, you're calling for a no call there. So I think this could go either way.
There's the takedown by Tito Peralta away from the play.
And I really don't think it was so intentional as just Musa so quick. He looks like he's going for a shoulder challenge, but Musa's so quick he catches him in the back.
Meanwhile, Musa has risen, and he is staying.
He's taking a long look at this, and I think we're about to find out. So the Hokies and Mike Noonan surround Brandon Marion ahead of an important VAR decision. And the penalty kick has been issued, and Alvarez is livid. So no card, but the point to the box here, Kevin. Wow. Well, you know, I could see it going either way, but there was a lot of contact, but this is an absolute massive moment. And you just wonder to yourself, who's going to put this on their shoulders and take this penalty?
It's looking like Mason Jimenez priming himself, seeking his first goal of the season. Clemson has one penalty kick goal this year, and that was John. But if there's a keeper that's going to save it, it might be the banana in net. The junior from California to double the lead. Jimenez drills it, and Clemson leads 3-1.
Well, he made no mistake. He shaped that away from the goalkeeper, and he hit it with pace. And I think we've just seen a caution here. Not sure who in that crowd of Virginia Tech players got it.
A dozen minutes separate the two Clemson second half goals. And with
well, this is how we got here, Daniel. You can see Musa plays it off, goes for the shoulder challenge late. It's in the back. Joseph makes an outstanding save. It's so hard when you're a goalkeeper, when it's shaped into the corner like that, but also up and high and away. It's a quality penalty for Mason Jimenez.
Clemson's lead is 2. Meanwhile, Virginia and SMU are still scoreless in the 60th. If that holds, Clemson would tie Stanford atop the conference as Alvarez now gets the caution. Still waiting on word of that first caution.
Well, I wonder if that was a team caution. He was just, and then now this one, But Alvarez certainly had the most words with the center official prior to the penalty.
No, we are getting word Declan Quill got the first yellow card.
Okay.
And now Alvarez here just 30 seconds later gets the second.
Well, the intensity of the match just got ratcheted up about 40 notches.
Yeah, you may see a free-spirited Virginia Tech team here over the final 25 minutes.
I think it's the big thing that Coach Noonan wants to project to his team now is you're in the driver's seat. You have a 2-goal lead. Stay composed. Do your jobs. The more chaotic the game gets, the worse it is for Clemson.
Here is Musa. Galloping through. Fall in the box, and then Yoshizawa with a handball on a fumbled first touch.
Yeah, unfortunate. Just kind of bounced up awkwardly and
Good header there by Jimenez on the back line. Perfect feed up to Marcano. Tries to sneak it into Perez. Good concentration. Okunlola able to feed it to his keeper.
well, for me, if this game ended right now, Okunlola make a good case for man of the match. He's done so much on both ends of the pitch.
2 assists. 1 to Musa, the other to Mane. And then the penalty kick goal for Jimenez is where we sit. Alvarez, the equalizer to end the first half for Virginia Tech. As Quill can't keep that in play. But ultimately, the defense for Clemson has been so secure. Here's a look at that Okunlola save.
Yeah, that's the initial tackle, and then he's able to dig that ball out. That's the modern football, who's able to do it on both ends of the pitch.
Good stop by Arielli.
Clemson continuing to threat with those runs beyond, players off the ball, looking to break that back line of Virginia Tech. You know, when you're coaching, as much as you can try to prepare for a game and see what a team is going to do and project of how they're going to play, and sometimes not when you get into the game, you realize it's something that maybe you didn't see on film. And I think clearly Coach Noonan's staff has seen how high this back line is from Virginia Tech, and they've gone after it.
Oh, what a job by Jean to keep that in play. Gave the fans something to cheer about. Ultimately, when looking at the big picture, Kevin, that 4-0 loss to Virginia is going to loom large for the Tigers, not just in points, but in goal differential, which looks to be that key tiebreak if all scores hold. As one goal comes back, and it's Quill's 4th in his last 2 matches.
Well, Daniel, we said they're never out of the fight, right? Again, the cross comes in, and Declan Quill just racks up another, burying the header to the near post.
Well, the recipe stays the same.
Right.
Unmanned, in front of net, Let's take a look.
The ball's kept alive in this wide area. You cannot switch off. Job number one is to deny the cross. The cross cannot come in too easy.
That's got to feel good. Quill, matched up with his teammate from a season ago, beats Stevenson.
Well, and as I mentioned earlier, when you're defending in those 1v1 situations, you have to be goal side and ball side. And what I mean by that is closer to your own goal, which Stevenson certainly was, but you need to be ball side. You need to be closer to where the cross is delivered from so you can be first to attack it and win it. And Stevenson was just a little bit late in that moment.
John looks to move around Alvarez, playing on a yellow. No call, possession holds. Mane, look to flick it near side, and that was a sneaky little shot.
I gotta tell you, Daniel, I think that was a toe poke. I think you didn't have enough time to, yeah, just a little toe poke there.
With pace.
Yeah.
I think the doors are open now. We are gonna see a fast and furious final 20 minutes. Virginia Tech playing with nothing to lose. Looking for another marquee win. Their first ACC big victory would come here. They have draws aplenty.
Oh, and you can't let Declan Quill get free.
This is Quill. Another unmarked man! Virginia Tech ties it with 2 goals in 5 minutes. And it's Yanis Bellatrosh. What a match.
Well, it's Quill who gets forward here, and again, too much time in the wide area. Bellatrosh doesn't have to put a lot on it, just redirects it.
How about 2 goals in 2 minutes? And the assist from Quill after the goal from Quill. And Kevin, are you not surprised Clemson finds themselves in another classic shootout?
Well, I'm just sitting over here thinking, you know, as a neutral, but if you're a fan of either of these teams, you can understand why this game is so beautiful and so awful. One moment you're celebrating, the next moment it rips your heart out.
And yet we still have 21 and change to play. Okunlola, hounded by Quill. Up to Musa. A bit battered, but still competing, as Clemson has used just 1 sub. And is that another testament to what the coaches think in terms of postseason strategy? Just 3 total subs used in this match.
Well, I think it's you're late in the season. Your fitness is at a pretty high level. You don't have to go to the well quite as much. And these players are fit. They're capable of playing 90 minutes. I think any subs, for the most part, will be tactical in nature.
Long ball up to Traustason, out for a corner kick. And in this ever-changing final match day, if Clemson does not get a victory, they may drop out of the top 4, depending on SMU, Syracuse, Duke, Notre Dame. Everyone is within 3 points in the top 8. SMU, Virginia are tied. Duke leads North Carolina in the first half. And a corner kick to come, the first of the second half for Virginia Tech. Two goals in 2 minutes. just recently from the Hokies. It's a moon ball punched away nicely by Ondema.
Yeah, a lot of contact there, which is pretty par for the course with this level. On these set pieces, just going to be a lot of traffic in there, and Ondema does well to get a touch to it.
Now it'll be Marcano from the other corner. Virginia Tech top 20 in the nation, averaging over 6 corners a match. You know, they emphasize this work as Ondema gets collided with and a bit of advantage plays on for Clemson. Oh, this is beautifully handled. Yoshizawa looks to poke it up. Jan, the touch. Ransford Jean is saved for a 3rd time by Sam Joseph.
Just look at how quick Jean is. He didn't quite get all of that he wanted to, but again, Joseph was up to the challenge. Look at that, 7 saves on the night, and I would say that 3 or 4 of those have been of the spectacular variety. That last one was pretty routine.
And a new season high for the San Diego kid. Played in the NCAA tournament 2 seasons ago with UCLA. Joined Virginia Tech in the spring and has earned that captain armband and has earned his keep tonight. '73rd minute. It's a nice leaping grab. The question is, did Uemana keep his feet in?
Well, that's I once had a player who did that in a match, but he was still inside the plane of the line. He was immediately issued a yellow card. So I think he was well out of bounds.
Meanwhile, the Italian veteran in his first season playing college ball, Santuari, comes in for Mane. Here's another look at our 15-team format.
This first round matches kicking off on Wednesday. That's what everyone is playing for.
Yep, they will be littered on my ESPN app from 6 until around 10 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have wall-to-wall ACC coverage. As Jean hoping to play both of his matches next week here at home, as the top 4 teams will host the quarterfinals next Saturday. Those will be on ACC Network. Sunday, November 9th. And they move to Cary, North Carolina, November 13th for the semifinals. Championship on ESPNU, November 16th. That important automatic bid on the line. A team like Virginia Tech would love to make a run. Santuari gets away with a misplay. Clemson led 1-0. They led 3-1. Virginia Tech with goals in the 68th and the 69th.
It was almost a premonition. We talked about how they are never out of the fight.
Tigers about to get a playmaker off the bench in the senior Nathan Richmond. That's a gorgeous touch from Duquesne. The spinning cross is headed and flicked by Musa, grabbed by Joseph. 75th.
And sometimes when you have players of that mentality like Duquesne and Okunlola who get forward so much, it's really the first time Duquesne's gotten forward and created something from a wide area. Sometimes that opposing forward just has the ability to keep you pinned back, and that's been the case on that left side.
How impressive has Declan Quill been? The senior at the left wing with a goal and an assist tonight after a hat trick against Cal last week. Quill tries a deep one. And we'll see Richmond come in. The senior on his senior day, joined by his father on the pitch before tonight. And here's him and his championship lineage as Richie Richmond, who won the national championship back in 1987 with his son celebrating a few seasons ago.
That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. And so, yeah, I know it's an embarrassment of riches when you sub off a player of Jean's quality and bring on Nathan Richmond. Richmond with 7 goals and 2 assists on the year. Another one of these attacking threats on this front line for the Tigers.
That's a strong, aggressive win by Leib, playing for the injured Lucas Magnuson, as Clemson a bit short-handed tonight. Oh, that would have been a corner, but it deflects. Oh no, they're gonna give the corner. It looked like it had hit Yoshizawa.
It's so interesting how the game has opened up, and it's just changed a little bit here. You've seen Duquesne get forward on that left side a couple of times. Just the last few minutes, he hardly ventured forward in the first half. I think the last touch from Yoshizawa, the ball is already over the end line.
Yep. Not much of a complaint from the Virginia Tech side after a bit to absorb as Richmond. The low corner. Duquesne gets a touch on it. A spinning ball rests upon the 23-year-old Santuari.
I was trying to find Ajubang there. Oh, that's clever.
Santuari down to Musa. Leib looks to reset. A dozen minutes to play. That'll be a whistle on the Italian as possession is wasted.
There's an initial push, but it's clearly a foul.
Musa has provided an impact in that striker position. Clemson, who has a knack for heroics with late game winners here at home against Pitt and Elon. How's this for a run by Duquesne? Bowed away by Alvarez.
You could see as he was making that surging run, he was looking for Yoshizawa to join in and break that back line. And I'm not sure just then if Yoshizawa had the gas in the tank to do that. Okanlola certainly does.
Pair of assists tonight for the man with possession. Oh, a little strong. Should be run down by Duquesne. With fans lined up in the parking lot watching from the outside of historic Riggs. What an atmosphere this is. One of the best in the country. Does it have another phenomenal finish in it? Another save made by Joseph on the chip by Musa.
It had to be Musa, didn't it? But that's the quality that Nathan Richmond brings in those one-on-one situations. He's got the confidence to run at players and break teams down on the dribble. It's a little shake of the hips. He's able to get to the line. Another big save from Joseph.
His 8th. Now Clemson's 5th corner kick as you look at the 6 6'4" frame.
Musa can turn a half chance into a goal in the flash of a second.
Big moment for Santuari. And a whistle blows before the corner kick. We'll have a reset. With the clock ticking, we enter the 81st minute. Into space, Floki. Nearly a touch created by Ajabong.
That's what you want to do. You want to win that initial ball.
Oh, here's a perfect feed in to Mise. 4 goals in his last 3 contests. Back to the freshman, Kwaku Ajabong. Okunlola feeds it. Stevenson heads it wide.
It's not a bad idea when you have the big man forward from the second phase there. Just a little scoop. It's just so difficult to get a lot of power on that. Feels like there's another goal out there, doesn't there?
I would assume
6 isn't enough.
These are 2 of the best offenses in the ACC, and I think both teams probably know a draw does not put them in a great spot. A win for both of these sides might propel them into a host spot of their own ranks. Clemson looking to host the first 2 rounds next week. Virginia Tech looking to play Wednesday night in Blacksburg.
You've got to track the runner here. Have a look.
Traustason, who's been quiet, tries to dish it off.
And see, that's the risk now in this counterattacking moment. That's a good idea. Well, the game is open. Certainly both teams are looking for the 3 points. Will not be satisfied with the draw.
Virginia and SMU are tied in the 80th. Duke leads North Carolina. So the Blue Devils, who Clemson does hold the tiebreak over, cannot jump them if Clemson draws. Things would get really interesting in that scenario, trying to decipher the top 4.
Clemson looked to restart quickly. Referee was not happy with the position of the ball.
Here's a push by Richmond. Curving shot, and another save made by Joseph. Play stays in, Musa saved again! 10 saves, a new career high for Sam Joseph. And Musa stays down.
Wow.
And understandably, Virginia Tech has to show a little frustration with Musa staying down there.
Right.
What a clinic in net.
It's on the header. Just looks like there's contact with Early.
Yeah, he fell pretty hard. The clock stopped. 6:39. Virginia Tech's coaching staff will now get cautioned.
Well, I think the frustration in there is they were arguing that Musa going down stopped the counterattack opportunity for Virginia Tech. And now it's a restart, and Clemson's able to get organized. So have a look here. Great initial save from Joseph there. Second opportunity kept alive. Second save, he stays down. And that's where the frustration comes from.
Yeah, it's a judgment call from the head official, Brandon Marion, who has a tough job on this night of physicality. The Halloween colors decorating Riggs Field with the orange against the black. Now a late tackle will be whistled in the corner, and this may be Clemson's first caution as Ajabong garners a yellow.
It's a touch beyond. You can see the. Oof. It's just a little bit high with the cleat. Now Clemson needs to be really, really focused here. As Virginia Tech has been dangerous from wide areas. They have players that can elude their markers and find themselves free. You're not going to be able to do much with denying the delivery here, so you have to be switched on and touch tight with your opponent.
With Notre Dame and North Carolina losing, Virginia Tech could grab the 8th spot with a victory and host on Wednesday. Headed by Musa. Tight to the net, and Ondema times it well.
Oh, that was timely. He had Traverson lurking back there.
Foul at midfield. Wouldn't it be something if Stanford still gets the bye, even with the loss?
It's just, again, it's the parity and the depth and the quality of this league is just nuts.
Oh, what a move by Okunlola. He's got options into the box in the 85th. And a corner kick created.
It's just a weaving run. He couldn't find a passing option. He couldn't quite cut out a shooting opportunity. So the next best thing is to earn yourself a corner.
Richmond moves the mic.
Almost virtually every player is forward here.
The waning moments of this tied contest. Joseph has to fend off a Tiger, and the whistle blows as he punches it with the other arm. Here's another RPI look coming into today from the top 10, where Virginia Tech, with a draw, would certainly climb the rankings.
Yeah, and if you think that 35 is kind of the magic number, it's like they've got 7 teams in and certainly 3 that could play their way in over the course of the ACC tournament.
Well, it's risky possession, and it is taken away by Marcano. Keep an eye on the 6'3" Icelander. Traustason will commit the foul, though, as Okunlola had position.
It was a clever defensive run. He just ran beyond him, forced the foul in that situation.
Here's another look.
Oh yeah, Okunlola's in a full sprint. He gets position, slows down. He's just going to shepherd it into Ondema's hands. He forces the foul. Once he has the position, he doesn't need to touch the ball there. Clemson using this opportunity to gather most of their players. Quick little huddle with Coach Noonan.
Before that last possession, Okunlola was stretching out his calf, and I was wondering if maybe some cramping started, and then that tackle may spell the evening for the talented right back, who has a pair of assists tonight.
Well, it's possible. When you look at the distance that players at this level can cover in a 90-minute match, I would not be surprised if he is around the 6, 7, 8 mile mark, the number of runs that he's bombed forward on.
All right, Kevin, fans, you ready for a bombshell score update?
Let's hear it.
From Virginia and SMU. In the 84th minute, the Cavaliers have put themselves in position to win the ACC regular season and grab the bye.
Wow. Wow.
Clemson hoping for a top 4 spot, of which a draw should get them. Takeaway at midfield there by Bellatrosh.
Oh, with so much crazy movement, really not a lot has happened at the top of the table, right? Stanford has stayed where they are. Virginia will bump up. NC State's not really moving. Clemson's not really moving.
SMU is going to lose. Syracuse already finished.
Right.
Duke is up by 1. That might be the situation. That win over Duke 2 weeks ago may get Clemson that 4 seed for head-to-head tiebreak. But if Virginia Tech can steal a goal here, they may get a top 8 spot.
3 minutes, it may as well be 30 minutes.
I will say this is one of those rare scenarios that I would take another 30 minutes to watch these two teams.
I just don't know if these players have much left in them after.
No, it was a good rule change to get rid of the overtime. But it'll be back next week, and then penalty kicks in the postseason as Richmond flicks forward and a goal kick created by a good defensive stop by Felicio.
Yeah, he did well there. I think Richmond may have the freshest legs on the field after being out for a good part of the second half and coming on fresh. That's the player you want on the ball right now.
Two and a half minutes to play. Again, the Tigers have had a propensity for heroics on this playing surface. Just a few weeks ago, a 90th minute match winner against Elon.
Well, that's a great tackle for Matthias Leib there. Just cut out that run.
What is the mindset in the final few minutes here to try to stay in form and not get chaotic?
Well, you certainly don't want to get wrapped up in the physicality of the match because it's going to be a bar fight here the last few minutes. You have to stay switched on, do your job.
Good takeaway, Okunlola back out there after the injury, and he is fouled. 90 seconds to play.
That ball was rolling, that's going to come back.
And Virginia Tech in no hurry to get it back. Andema needs a new ball. No one to help him get it either. And that wasted about 30 seconds. And now Andema is going to get chastised for advancing a couple meters.
Yeah.
Final minute. And a result for Virginia Tech that might just be the cherry on top of a successful regular season. Try to get them inside the top 40 RPI. If they could win on Wednesday, regardless of their opponent, the Hokies may be dancing.
And you have to give credit to them. They clawed their way back and scored right at the end of the first half to level things 1-1. And then when they were down 3-1, they scored 2 goals in a span of 3 minutes to even this match again. I think I told you if Clemson was going to win this thing, Remy Okunlola would be my candidate for man of the match. But if this result stands, hats off to Sam Joseph. He's been outstanding on the night.
And exhaustion has reached a high. Players sprawled out on the pitch. And a classic 3-3 draw to wrap the regular season on a game-tying goal in the 69th minute by Yanis Bellatrosh.